Owen, do you think Jeremy Corbyn has paid a political price this week for his position on...
Well, the media framing has been a disgrace, and I have to say that includes your own programme. Yesterday, the background of your programme, you had Jeremy Corbyn dressed up against the Kremlin skyline. No, he's got to make this point.
Make the point.
Dressed up as a Soviet stooge.
It was a real picture of Jeremy Corbyn.
You even photoshopped his hat to look more Russian. I have to say, whether or not...
It wasn't photoshopped. It was real. It was him in front of the Kremlin. It was a provocation.
People should complain to the BBC about that kind of thing, and it's not your graphics department who's responsible, it's whoever signed it up.
Right. It wasn't, just to say, it was a real picture of him, and we placed him in the Kremlin.
The broader question, and again, this is about the disgrace of the media framing, these are the questions that aren't being asked in this country. Who was it, which party, over and over again, demanded a Magnitsky-style amendment to clamp down on Russian dirty money? It was the Labour Party. Which party resisted it over and over again? It was the Conservative Party. Which politician kiboshed an inquiry, delayed, undermined an inquiry year after year after year into the poisoning of Litvinenko, and in doing so potentially emboldened those who used chemical weapons? It was Theresa May. Who was it? Which party is awash with Russian-linked money? It is the Conservative Party.
So Owen, the key thing is, why are the polls 2-1 in her favour on this issue and 2-1 against him on this issue?
Well, I think
so the question is, has he bungled it this week? Because you're saying, look how good he is on this issue, and the country are not...
I'm saying he's not had a fair hearing, and I'm glad that there's so many people who say they don't know. But look, what sort of country do we live in where the media constantly tries to portray the leader of the opposition, who was the only one who stood up in Parliament in solidarity with Russia's democratic opposition and those campaigning for human rights, constantly smearing him as an agent of foreign powers, including an MP who had to pay a substantial amount of money for doing so, and terrorist organisations. But this is a very serious point, because it's how the media operates in this country. And he was the one, just quickly, he backs the expulsion of the diplomats. That's what the Labour Party did. But the argument of the Labour Party is to go further, which is to clamp down on Russian dirty money, which a Conservative Party, which is bankrolled by Russian oligarchs, is not going to do.
That point's clearly made. Jenny, do you agree with Owen that the framing has been just completely unfair?
I think Owen actually made some very good points about the injustice of the British media towards Putin. I didn't watch your programme last night.
Towards Corbyn.
Corbyn, sorry. Putin, no, we're definitely right about... Let's be rude about Putin. Sorry. Corbyn, I didn't watch your programme last night, but clearly, if you take a photograph taken years ago in a different context and you put it up there...
It was a provocation to a discussion, and it was a balanced discussion.
But images matter, so I agree with that. However, and he's right about many of the issues that he raises. It was true that the Conservative Party have not been interested in the Magnitsky Act and so on. But Corbyn had an opportunity to say exactly anything that he pleased when he stood up in the Commons this week, and he completely blew it. He made it sound as if he was not primarily interested in defending the British people, as if he was more interested in exploring every possible reason why somebody else might have been responsible for this attack. Now, the point is that if you intend to lead the country, as Corbyn does, your first duty is to make people feel that you will defend them against attack. And Corbyn, although it was perfectly right to lay out some questions about what do we know, did not do it in the right way. He should have come out right at the beginning and made it perfectly clear that he would defend Britain and that he would ask other questions later.
Right. Rachel, arbitrate between the two views we've just heard.
Well, I mean, they've both made sensible points, but I mean, I think I might surprise you by saying I thought that Jeremy Corbyn was right to point out that we needed some proof before we risked escalating what could be a very dangerous international situation. And I think a lot of the country really agreed with him on that. I mean, listen, because we've had 8 years of the war in Syria. We've got 1,500 civilian casualties in the Yemen alone. And then we have the probable assassination by Russian agency of one British citizen, a Russian spy swap. And suddenly, the entire international security establishment decides it's time to, really launch an international diplomatic offensive against Putin. Why? I understand the reasons about the chemical attack on British soil the first time, but I think we were right to be cautious.
Right. Last word on Corbyn, because I want to get on to other things as well. Go on then. Last word.
The issue is, what will get the Russian regime where it hurts Labour's accepted that either Russia is directly responsible or criminally culpable by allowing its chemical weapons to fall into the hands of the very gangsters and oligarchs who ravaged Russia. He said looted Russia ever since the fall, of course, of the Soviet Union. What will hurt them? It will be going after that Russian dirty money. And the question I would ask people is, which party would you then trust? A party bankrolled by the City of London, which is the centre of this money laundering, or one which isn't, or one which is awash with Russian-linked money, like the Conservatives, or indeed, just quickly, Theresa May, who refused an inquiry until she was forced by the High Court into Litvinenko's poisoning because it would upset Russia.
I want to move on